All right, so there's gonna be like no structure to the next section of this stream. 10 more Factorio researches. Ooh, very nice, very nice. I very much like doing structured activities on my stream, whether that be just playing a game or working through an exercise. But the idea of building a proto head is very much not structured in that sense in the beginning stages of trying to figure out what I want to do. So what I want to do here is start moving the dialogue on where my head is with this, puns intended on that one, and the general direction I can foresee this going in. So first things first, talks about what I actually want to accomplish. Build the Protogen head, and the base I want to work with is 3D printed, right? So we've got .3D printed base. I also want the expressional displays. And then this is where things are going to be coming a little off of the cookie cutter, quote unquote. They're all unique, but the concept of building a proto head in a lot of cases kind of ends there with the displays just showing usually one expression or one expression in blinking, like the eyes blinking. I want to do more than that. And the angle I want to try to work with here is multiple expressions. And the way I want to accomplish that is by doing two things. I want to add some kind of wireless radio to the proto head and then tie it to a remote, so I could cycle through expressions. Off stream, I have tinkered with some of the different radios. I worked with the 2.4 gigahertz, and I looked at documentation for Bluetooth. But what I haven't figured out yet is whether it would make sense to try to use a pre-created remote, or if I would want to attempt to create a remote control in addition to the thing that it would be talking back to. Because realistically speaking, all I need is something that's fairly portable in my hand that I could click through some of the different buttons that then will either send back, back to the mothership, the board in the head that I want to switch which expression is on the face. So I don't know quite just yet. I don't quite know yet how I want to handle that part. Yeah, Bluetooth or Wi-Fi hotspot. Right, and that's what I mean by the 2.4 gigahertz radio. Because there is the Zigbee protocol, which works off 2.4 gigahertz, but it's very, very, very low power, which is great because if you're going to be wandering around, the less power you have to put out, the better. As for a remote for expressions, build or buy. That part I'm not entirely sure on. With the Wi-Fi, you can use a small web server on there or any phone in the past where you can control it. Right, now, that would be good, but I'm planning on wearing the head. So I'm knowing that it would be problematic to try to switch through expressional faces with something with just a touch screen. So I was thinking that something with tactile buttons, kind of like the 8-button array that I have on the bench over here that we've seen multiple times on stream, to be able to click a physical thing, to be able to cycle expressions. because I know with the touchscreen wearing a Proto head, I'd have to look at it, and the goal is to have it just in the palm of my hand and just with my fingers feel and click the buttons. Right, I was thinking it was more of something that I have in my palm and almost use like a like a track strap. You know the straps you have on the bottom of VR chat controllers, like the Quest controllers or the Vive ones, how you can just slide them on and then they can just dangle on your wrists. I was kind of thinking of something like that, like a strap I could slip over my wrist, and then if I let go of the controller, well, then it's just kind of dangling on my hand, but I still have it. I debated about the idea of maybe building buttons into a paw, but I think that might be a little too advanced for a first build. I kind of like the idea of a remote control that I could toy with. So I know that there's a lot of like pre-built controllers that are out there that like a really simple one, like a simple on-off button click relay thing. Joystick might not be a bad idea, but the other thing I'm trying to determine, and I'm definitely open to opinions, is how to keep track of which facial expression I'm using. I do know that when we did the 30 Days Lost in Space franchise, that there was the OLED display, 128 pixels by 64 pixels. It's a pretty small display, but that might not be such a bad idea, because if I can manage to fit the that little display on the inside of the head, and then just maybe have the word indicating which facial expression I'm currently displaying to the world, that could clue me in of whether I want to change expressions or not. Yeah, joystick, you could just do it kind of like the VR expressions wheel. Right, which honestly is not a bad idea. Which I'm actually going to add that here. Not a bad idea. Now granted, that style of, I mean, that would be a lot less clicking, right? And I guess it depends on how many facial expressions I wanted to cycle through. I have no idea what my music is doing here. My goodness, this is supposed to be the lo-fi station. Calm the heck down. It's supposed to be background music. My word. Yeah, because if you move the stick, you have the X and Y position, then it is math with the cosine inside. Right. Right, and then depending on which expression I want, could be within a set of values, you know, break the wheel into multiple ranges that we could read. And then if I'm in, you know, quadrant whatever for more than, you know, 3 seconds, then change the expression. Something that gives me enough time to allow the stick to go back to center without, you know, going crazy with all my facial expressions. But I know I need some kind of feedback. An SD card reader to save the expressions too. So interestingly enough, there are the concept of the oh, it's left my head. What the heck is it called? This is gonna drive me crazy. Oh, I'm gonna have to look at my web browser because it's already left my head. Oh, what a great time for my browser to install an update. Love that. I'm gonna find it. Bitmap. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Ugh. The images can get converted into bitmaps, and then you just cycle through bitmaps to actually have the animation. Granted, I am no artist, but I definitely think I can manage some static faces to cycle through to make it animated. Because like the idea of like blinking, right? You would have the eye fully open, and then the next frame would be a little closed, and then the next frame would be a little bit more closed, and then eventually your eyes are closed. Depending on how many expressions you want, need a place to save it. Right, and the other thing too is that I'm not entirely sure which microcontroller I'm going to end up landing on, depending on how many inputs, outputs I'm going to need. The Hero board here is a very capable developmental board, and the idea of tying into those pins, depending on the example we end up going with, really dictates kind of which sensors I'm going to be plugging in, which I'm not sure quite just yet. I also don't know how difficult it will be to try to get an SD card to communicate with an Arduino. That is, the EEPROM is 51 bytes, right? It's not a lot of space. So the idea of reading and writing the facial expressions, right? So we need SD card for Arduino is not bad. All right. So SD card for Arduino to store facial expressions. I'm okay if some of this is not spelled right. I'll fix the spelling later. Okay, so that kind of gives us another pivot there. So some kind of wireless radio communication. We need somewhere to store the faces. And then one more thing I may or may not try to put into this build. It really depends on the space within the head. And that is going to be an NFC chip reader. And here's the reason I want to do that. Put that on the same line. So NFC chips come in a variety of shapes and sizes. The other thing too with NFCs is that they're serialized, right? If we were to program a chip and attach it to a prop, I could put that prop near my visor and then make an expressional change happen, which allows interaction between me and those around me. If someone takes a plushy stick of RAM and puts it near the visor, that can make the eyes turn to hearts or something. Something kind of simple, like just one additional way to be able to cycle through different facial expressions that doesn't involve me clicking buttons. I think that's very doable. Now granted, this is all the technical aspect of a proto head. There's several 3D bases and some mild wiring examples I've seen, which I kind of have to dig a little bit more into that offline. But what I wanted to do here on stream was just to kind of dump my thoughts on what I want to do and then kind of fill this in as we go along. But the idea of the whole NFC reader thing, to just be able to read a chip that gets close, I think would be really cool. Remember my pinout. Remember my pinout for what specifically? Are we talking about I just don't run out of pins? Or something else are you referring to? Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm not too bent for shape if I can't make some of this happen. Because controlling displays, there's going to be a minimum of 2 displays because one for each eye. I saw a proto head that did include a 3rd display for the nose, which I may or may not want to do depending on which template I decide to go with. Or I might not even bother with 3rd display for the nose, because if I do decide to go with an NFC chip reader, then the nose would actually be a good place to put that. It would be somewhere near the front of the visor, which would make it really accessible for an NFC chip to be brought near it. which may or may not be doable by itself. I have confidence I can figure out an NFC chip reader. It's just whether that technology can fit inside of a head. I don't know how big that stuff is. So that's going to involve a little research as well. But there are quite a few different Arduino boards that are out there. Some with a lot of pinout. Granted, the bigger the developmental board, the more stuff I have to actually be able to wedge into, well, a small space, or it has to, all the wires will have to run out of the head to like a main box that would have to be affixed to the back of the prop somehow. I'm not quite sure what that would look like. I don't think I'm good enough just quite yet to want to attempt to build the board from scratch. I do have some notation on how to program a microcontroller without an Arduino board, like directly program that into a project, but I haven't done it yet. So I'm thinking that the first proto head build is going to be based on one of the developmental boards that I could stick pins into. SD card reader is 6 pins. Ooh, good to know. Four without the VCC and ground. Oh, so it's 4 data pins, 6 in total. Right. And then we've got Xenor, does that mention if those pins have to be pulse width modulation PWM pins, or do they just have to be digital pins? Or are they analog? Out of curiosity. Because which type of pins we're working with, that's going to play into it too. 2 clock pins cross-wired, 1 MOSI and 1 MSID. I'm just going to copy your comment there. I'm going to just stick that over here. Haha! All right, cool. That'd be mighty fine. Oh, one more thing. So I'm not worried about it from a Xenor. What I want you to do is inside of my Discord server, there is a new channel I made specifically for this. Once I get my server up here, see what that gets called. I'm in the wrong server. I want this one. Fursuit building resources. Go ahead and put the links in there to any of the stuff you want to put there. That'll help me collate and not lose this stuff. Cool. One more thing that I want to add to this, and it's a signature thing to me. I've already shown you before that I'm capable of producing LEDs on LEDs on a self-generated PCB board, and then I built it on stream. Which, do I have one of those here near me? Bench camera. So, on a previous episode of Techie Doing Crazy Things, thank you for posting that. That is greatly appreciated. I built this. This is a pronoun switcher board. Shield your eyes. It's gonna be a little bright. Position 1 is H and E. Position 2 is she. And then position... There we go. Position 1 and 3 is they. right? I specifically built this project because I knew that I wanted to add some custom lighting to the proto head, but I also knew that it was something I was going to want. Exactly. And then, of course, there's Shade. Okay? That'd be okay. That'd be mighty fine. But the reason I wanted to go through this process of building this custom board was because I want to add custom lights to the side panels of the proto head. So what my plan is that I am going to build. Welcome in, Jet Pinky. Welcome on in. What I want to do is I want to actually develop on stream my diagram for the RJ45. I want to add something similar to this into the cutout that's on the side of the Protogen head. I'm not looking to really make it do anything other than simply light up. So I don't need any control to the Arduino. I just simply need to get voltage and resistance so that the LEDs don't burn up. I haven't made up my mind yet. Yeah, an LED with a diffuser. I'm looking to do multiple colors, which I've also debated maybe instead of I used full-size LEDs the last time. I've debated about using surface-mounted LEDs, but that's going to involve having JLCB Labs build it for me, because I don't have the tools to actually build that myself. But as long as I upload the diagram and put the appropriate parts on there that the factory has, then I should be able to get them produced, mailed to me, and then we add it to the project. So that's kind of like the last thought process of hardware I want to add to the head that's not ear related, fur related, like the technology aspect of all this. Let me see where I'm at here. I want that one. Right, so then side panel, RJ45 lighting. Remember, the LED matrix is easier to have a single color. Are you talking about the RGB LEDs, Xenor, when you say the LED matrix? Or are you talking about something different? The face LEDs, the ones that will move. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, no, I'm not looking to do multiple colors for the actual for the face. A static color for that is fine. I just mean specifically the LEDs that are going to make up the side panel lighting for the RJ45 the coloring, because my goal is to get something similar to the colors of the pinout, because we've got orange, red, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, brown, and LEDs off the shelf don't come in all those colors. You would need something that's an LED that's packaged to be able to shift colors, which it sounds like that's kind of what I'm tying myself into. But I mean, maybe I could use the full-size LEDs. I guess it really depends on how much space I'll actually have in the cutout on the side of the panel, really. Because the theory would be to inset it into the side of the head, and then from there protect it with either piece of plexi, or something else that's transparent enough that you can make out what the symbol's supposed to be. I'm not quite sure yet, but those are some of the initial impressions of the actual electronics side of the head. Some other aspects that are going to have to get looked at is the fur, the ears, and really assembling that portion, which is going to involve different types of foam and different adhesives to be able to kind of bring it all together. Some of the tutorials I've seen, a lot of them involve just gluing directly the fur to the plastic. But I'm kind of in a position where I don't know if that's the angle I want to go. I've been debating about it. Now granted, first major project, right? I've never done something even remotely like this, but that's not going to stop me. So I don't know if this is going to work, but I want to see if I can incorporate a zipper, and have the zipper be affixed to the plastic, and then the fur could just be zipped on and off of the visor so that it could be slipped off, be cleaned. Anything that goes around your head or your face is going to get the moisture from your body. And there's several of the proto head heads that I saw that have like knockouts for like adding fans, which I'm gonna want to do that too. But that moisture is going to get into the fur, it's going to get into the head, it's just going to be around, right? So that means periodically, to keep the head clean and dry, that's going to involve having some mechanism to clean it, and being able to take the fur off the head away from all the fancy electronics that we're going to build in design would probably not be a bad thing. So my intention is to have the foam be permanently attached to the head, but have the fur be removable if possible. I don't quite know how that's going to pan out, but that's kind of the angle I want to go for. Other than that, we're going to use this beans color scheme. So we're going to go for an off shade of green and gray. That's pretty easy. My color scheme's not hard. It's the signature color of the RJ45 is that I really want to incorporate into the head, because that's really what makes my proto me. And I mean, as this being a public model, there's quite a few of us floating around, and that one makes my specific head stand out. I want to see how it'll work into it. So there's that. If there's anybody in chat who doesn't know what I'm talking about, this probably seems like a pretty scary conversation. A Protogen head is like the model that we're looking at right now, with the glowing face and the moving ears. I'm talking about building one of these in real life. If anybody is confused as to what I'm actually talking about, I'm talking about building something in the real world that looks like this. Just looking at, oh, you're fine. You didn't miss anything, Xenar. I'm just kind of rambling about where my thoughts are on this. So I suppose, kind of with that, out in the air, where's my angle to start? Thank you, Pine. Where's my starting point? I think what my starting point is going to be is I'm going to decide on a template. Thunder has been more than helpful by providing some of those links in the Discord for me to peruse. I'm going to get some filament chosen, print some pieces, and then we'll talk about it on stream and kind of continue it from there. Cheapest goggles are $260. Yikes! Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Now, hang on. You say goggles. Are we talking like steampunk goggles, or are we talking like safety goggles? Because those are two very different things. Really want to make a full head proto head. Well, I mean, Zero, you're helping me do this. FPV drone goggles. Oh, did you say that? Oh, you did say that. All right, noted. I mean, you're already helping me figure this out. So by all means, I have really no intention on gatekeeping any of the design stuff that comes out of this project. Part of the reason on why I'm live streaming it, or at least aspects of it, is so that if someone else has interest, that they can take whatever they really want from this and run with it. Obviously, I'm going to have my own disclaimer on safety. Obviously, any of the things that I build here on stream are really for educational purposes, and you must do your own research to be safe. Part of the reason why that board that I showed you that lights up doesn't have a charging circuit built into it is because I don't know enough yet, and I would hate to design something that's dangerous and not know it. So that's a big part of what I'm presenting on stream, is something that's safe for myself and others, especially because if anybody decides to want to copy my design, I want to make sure they're safe. The reality is, if I'm going to strap some batteries and screens to my head, I want to make sure that they stay functional and don't go up in smoke. That's a bad place to be when things catch on fire by your face. So gonna do my best to do my own research like I tell everybody else to do, and hopefully find an angle that's safe and productive. Need to design 3 panels and then the mirror. Those. Fair. So I think that's where we're starting. We're gonna try to find some headpieces. I also have to dig in and see. I found a couple of basic wiring diagrams that were included with some of the exercises, or some of the templates I was looking at. Yours will watch through the visor. Mine will be blocked with LED panels. How big are you going to make those panels? I'm a little confused. If you make the panels so big that you can't see out of them, how's a mirror going to help? Or are you almost the full visor? Oh dear God. Xenor, you're gonna need to be able to see where you're going somehow, unless you're gonna build some kind of like snorkel-looking device that'll like allow you to see via like some crazy glasses. Okay, I'm now understanding what this is crazy. You know what? You probably could do something absolutely crazy. FPV camera pass-through. Yeah, I was just gonna say, just kind of like the Quest 3 with the pass-through mode, something super crazy like that. I already have my own hands full with how like completely impossible this project feels right now, but I know I could do it. It's just going to require a significant amount of time. I am going to be completely transparent right now. I do not anticipate this being done before the next time I go to a convention. I have whole belief in my world that that's not going to happen, and that's okay, because my goal is just to get myself moving, and then try to get over whatever hurdles that tend to appear, because the idea of building custom lighting is going to take time all by itself, and that has nothing quite to directly do with the rest of what I'm planning and plotting, so nor here nor there. I'm excited though. It feels like a fun project. Alright, good. And then before I misplace the typed up notes here from this evening, I'm going to go through these in my running note tab. Because if nothing else, let's see here. Probably help if I put this in the top here. Now granted, I didn't change my category because this is very technically related, or it's technical levels of relation here. So I debated about switching to just chatting, but at the same time, there's technology involved with this madness, so I decided to leave the category where it was. I don't know what makes more sense. This is very, very heavy in the science and technology space, even though I am just talking about it. Well, at least right now I am. It's fine. Let's see here. I can mark that. That's good. All right, cool. I'm taking a moment here to see where we're all going to go wander off to here this evening. Let's see here. Ooh, okay, I see a bean on that we can go say hello to. Haha, excellent. Well, it looks like Ols is on right now, and Ols is in the midst of playing Baldur's Gate 3. So that is where I'm going to wander us all off to. I'd like to thank you all very much for popping on in here. I'm going to continue cycling through technology, the Protohead, and games. I don't anticipate every stream where we're going to have any kind of update. Oh, wait, really? All's because Hound rated him. I'm sending you back. Yeah, as we proceed to actually dig more into the build and the research actually starts producing something where we can actually show on stream at the bench, then we'll dig more into that. Indeed, well, this evening it does. Technically, it's tomorrow for him, so you know what? We're not worried about it. I'm taking all of you to the future. So with that, thank you very much for popping on in, and I'll see you all on the next go around. Bye-bye.